Have you ever had one of those games where you played the demo of it, but you've never really found a copy of it in your entire life? One of those games in which you've always wanted to experience what the game really has. You saw videos of it, you've played demos of it, you've experienced some of the game, but you've never actually experienced the game in its entirety. You went searching on eBay and Amazon and everything, and you couldn't find this game at all. But then there'd be that one time, that one very specific time where you will find that game, and you have to buy it, or else you'll never be able to get another chance at this again. This, ladies and gentlemen, is that game. For me, at least. Vexx is a game created by Acclaim, and published by Acclaim as well. It was released on the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. The GameCube version never worked for me on the emulators, and neither did the Xbox version, obviously, so I tried the PS2 version on PCSX2. It worked to a certain point. It worked to the water, in which the water actually made the game unplayable. So, in the end, ever since I got the Elgato, I had to buy a physical copy of this game, which I was lucky enough to get on eBay at least a year ago. And as you can see, this is me playing it with the actual copy on an actual PS2 on the Elgato. Now right now I'm going to shut up and let you watch the very intro movie, which never played for me on the PCSX2 emulator. I have no idea why, but please enjoy.
Ours was a sin of pride. Blinded by our ambition, we opened a door better left closed and loosed hell upon Astara. Though 700 years have passed, to my lasting sorrow, the terror continues. It began anew when the Shadow Wraiths descended on the peaceful village of Obi. Dark Yabu, the Shadow Wraiths drove the defenseless villagers before them, save the aging guardian of Obi, Vargas, and his grandson, Vexx. Defiant but outnumbered, Vargas and Vexx could not stand against Yabu's dark power and were bound in chains with the others. They were forced to toil in the labyrinth of tunnels surrounding their village. Slaves. Beaten by word and whip, Vexx endured until his rage became unbearable. He lashed out, attacking his oppressors, but was stopped by the very shadows that answered Yabu's call. Vexx would have died then, were it not for the sacrifice of his grandfather. Enraged, Yabu turned his powers on Vargas and showed no mercy. After nightfall, vowing revenge, Vexx escaped the caves and made his way into the heart of Yabu's windship, intent upon destroying the Wraith. Fate, however, would grant him not revenge, but fortune. The legendary Astani War Talons. Unable to destroy the powerful artifact, Dark Yabu had hidden them away for years, fearful that they might fall into enemy hands. Vexx screamed as the Talons bound themselves to him forever, and his fate to that of all Astara.
We have waited an eternity for one who perceives with the mind and not the eye. The mark of your grandfather's passing lies heavily upon you. A part of you is linked to him, even in death. As how we heard Vargas deemed your grandfather unfit for the mercy of eternal peace. Yet he possessed his heart, which could never be held captive in life. Your grandfather's essence is of dark hovers and night, where Yahweh will feed the hearts of space and fear until Vargas is no more. But if you learn our ways, the potential to save him is in your hands. You will grant you a knowledge and experience of all of the guardians who have borne us throughout the ages. We can help you to unlock the doors of your own perception so that you may avenge your grandfather and redeem him from his plight.
And thus we begin. We begin with a tutorial level. Obviously, because, you know, why not? I mean, we gotta learn the controls, right? And yes, we have to learn the controls because these controls can be pretty interesting for some people. For most, if you played Ratchet and Clank and shit, you already know most of these, like long jump and high jump and shit, you know. If you want to do a long jump, you hold the L1 button, you jump. You want to do a high jump, you just stand there and, you know, L1 jump. But for most people, back then, you know, this would be a new concept. So, yeah, just the basics right there, just moving around jumping, it's all good. And really, when you get right down to it, this tutorial is, you know, pretty good for anyone who's new to controls and shit. It's not really useful for people who are already kind of played games like this. But hey, it's something that people can enjoy. So yeah, swimming around, this is the part where the game completely becomes unplayable. I could not find this door, I could not do anything, the whole thing was fucked up. The water graphics would not work correctly, everything would be completely blank. On emulator, this game is pretty much impossible to play, because I have played some of the game before I did this recording, and believe it or not, there are times where you're going to be underwater, and you need to see. You absolutely need to see, or else you're not going to be able to beat the levels. So, yeah, it would have been impossible for me to do this whole Let's Play on the emulator. Which is why I'm doing it on the Elgato, on the actual PS2. Not a PS3, not a PS4. The actual slim PS2. Now for the combat. Obviously, it's a free hitter, just swift to the square. Then you got the uppercut, which is L1 and square, pretty much like jumping. Which I fucked up there. And then you got the ground blast, which is something that's actually kind of new for this kind of game. And then you got the flare kick. We all know about this one. So yeah, just some, you know, average, you know, fighters styles that you can do. But they are very useful when you find bosses and such. And when you find normal enemies, you can put them in combos and you can get hit points out of it. And it actually is kind of cool to get a high hit point. Okay. Now then, this part. Rave Hearts are extremely needed. They are pretty much the things we need to actually, you know, beat the game. These shard pieces, these are, you know, collectibles. You know, collectibles you can find anywhere around the game. Collect 100 of these and you will basically get a Rave Heart. They'll just appear right there, either in front of you or next to you at least. You get 100 of these, which is pretty easy to get if you know where the pieces are. If you don't, this can be pretty tough. But outside of that, the shard pieces are pretty easy, and you should not have any trouble doing this little part here. This part you might have a bit of trouble on, though. The next collectibles that are around outside of the shard pieces are these. And these are called soul jars. And you have to collect 6 of them. When you get 6 of them, you get a Rave Heart. These you cannot get like anywhere in the game. These are in specific places in every level, so you need to find them, you need to get them. And they're in every level. Now we can pick up our first Rave Heart, and that actually does count. And I will stop speaking now because we're about to get another cutscene. And yeah, that's it for the tutorial. Goody for us. Goody goody.
You have done well. Beyond this door lies the world in which you alone must use what you have learned to achieve your purpose. Take heart, for the measure of a person lies not in how one deals with the easiest situations, but rather in what you do when faced with the most hopeless of circumstances.
Ah, back among the living, I see. You're a stout one, aren't you? When I found you, I thought you dead, so I brought you here. This chamber is where the past Talon bearers are entombed. Cursed things nearly cut my hands off as I carried you here. Yabu destroyed the village. Everyone is gone except you and old Darby. I'd love to get my hands on that soul-sucking monster, but old Darby can't see so good no more. But you could stop him before he opens the door to his world. You could get to the Landspire before it's too late. If he opens the rift again, those demons will destroy what little remains of Astara, and all of us with it. Then there'll be nothing to stop the Wraiths from using the rift to destroy other worlds. It'll have to be you, my boy. Darby can't go with you, but I know an old trick. I can talk to you like this. Head on outside. I can get you started on your way.
And thus, we begin the game. We're outside of the tutorial level, and we can just do whatever the fuck we want. Now, we can just leave and go for the first level, or we can do this. There is this portal up here on this little, path here. And the only way to get up to it, as far as I know, is to hurt yourself on the fire. You'll make a big leap, like a very arcish leap while you're on fire. And if you can get up here, which you have to go in the middle one, which I didn't know, and I was a complete fucking idiot for a bit, and I almost died trying this. You can get up here, and what's up here is a life, and, the portal that you can see clearly right over there, that will actually give us an important item we need for the game. I'll tell you what it is later. But right now, I should probably explain a bit about this game. If you've played Jak and Daxter and such, you should be used to this game. You shouldn't have any trouble with this game. It really is very Jak and Daxter-ish in its gameplay. And really, if you are good at Jak and Daxter, you shouldn't have much trouble getting used to controls in this game. This game is pretty easy to control, and it's pretty good too. I have no trouble with, playing this game with controls. Anyway, what we just got was our first token that gives us our first power-up, the rock suit. And what this does is that it makes us pretty much lose a lot of our jumping ability, but it lets us break shit, which is useful for certain Rave Hearts. And yeah, after I get up the stairs, because I can't see them, we will go for a loading screen, and we will just have a bit of a cutscene, and then I'll just end the part right here. And we can begin the next part, where we begin the very first level. So yeah.
Welcome to Timberdale, Vexx. Scattered throughout this land, there are 4 precious Wraith Hearts. You must collect them to power up the central gate and progress to the next land. The first Wraith Heart is found here. You must traverse to the top of the giant tree to collect it. Vexx, collect one of the Wraith Hearts and I'll meet you on the other side of the central gate. Good luck, my friend.
And thus, after a save, we end up in the very first level, and somehow from pausing, I glitched the audio, and the music for this level actually plays in the pause, which it shouldn't. Like that. But it is suitable for the fact that we are about to begin a new LP, and this one's actually going to be interesting and fun for me. Especially since I haven't actually completed this game, so get ready. It's going to be one hell of a ride. See you next time.